Hi, my name is Rajan.
Hi, and my name is Elena Jara. I
And
forgot my name.
that's okay. See, you can do this too. Together, Elena, you and I have, well over 25 years financial literacy experience. We're not going to say how many in total, right? Because
Absolutely not. I think
we're
we
young.
started when we were like 5 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
For
We
sure.
both did. And you know what's cool when you're in that finance industry, there's so many things that we get to learn about and know about that kind of, the average Canadian doesn't know. And so we're doing this to share that knowledge with other people, right? So, welcome to our YouTube money tips.
Yes, and I think you're right, Taz. I think today what we're going to do is just share a little bit of our knowledge and expertise based on how we see money, I think, right? And the other thing too, it's like everything I do, sometimes I relate it to finances, which is such a weird way to live, but that is exactly what I do. So bear with us.
Yeah, totally. In fact, you were just telling me, was it last weekend that you were doing some spring cleaning and how you kind of related that to
Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to relive that again.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I did a post on LinkedIn on just that, it's like where to start. And I was trying to do some spring cleaning / summer cleaning in my basement. And you know how we accumulate stuff, right? We just accumulate and we buy and then we just say, oh, I'm going to use it. And we never go back
And it
to
all ends up in the basement, like out of sight.
That's my storage space. I love it. But anyways, so I thought, okay, I'm going to start. And I went downstairs and literally I stood there for about a couple minutes looking at things and I started to have like an anxiety attack, some sort of like I started to feel anxious. Like even just talking about it makes me feel uncomfortable because I thought to myself, my goodness, like I I just can't do it. And so then
Overwhelming.
my partner was like looking at me and saying, what's wrong? I'm like, I can't do it. Right. And he's like, okay, let's just start like little corners here and there. And he's very good at organizing. But here's the thing. If you had talked to me about finances, I would have been like, let's get started. I know exactly where we start. Let's look at your budget. Let's look at your expenses. Let's
If
look
I
at
said like, I've got these piles of receipts sitting everywhere, I've got all these bills, like, I just don't know where to start. You'd be like, oh, I got you, girl.
I got you. No problem. You know what? I have no problem looking at those statements. I have no problem writing everything down and then discussing each item. I am so good at that.
Yeah.
But here it is. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. We just don't even know where to start sometimes when we don't have that strength, when we don't have that knowledge or just that confidence, right? Like that's what I was feeling. I was like, should I throw things out? Should I keep? And then the rule of cleaning up, it's like if you haven't used it in 6 months or a year, then you should get rid of it. And it's the same thing with your debts. I think it's like if you haven't paid it off in 6 months or a year, you really need to look at this closely and understand how much this debt is really costing you, right? And a lot of us don't even ask that question.
In that moment, it can feel so overwhelming. Like I do my regular spring cleaning as well. And when I first, it's the same kind of thing. Like it's just, you freeze. And that's very common. Like when we're not sure, like you think about if you're on ice and if the ice cracks, what do? You freeze, right? And I think that's a little bit of like what's happening when you're doing, whether it's spring cleaning or whether it's figuring out your money or whether it's, having that tough conversation with somebody. I think the first thing we do is like freeze.
Right. Well, you're right. Some freeze, some run, and I'm a runner. That was my first instinct. I was like, oh, I'll leave this for some other time, right? And so, of course, my partner's like, no, we said we were going to do this today, and so we're going to do this today. And I'm like, but either way, I think you're right. So whatever your reaction is, there's no right or wrong. It's just get started. Right?
Yeah.
Just start somehow. And for us, I think when we talk about finances, we really have to get to the point where we have to say, you know what? It's important that if you can't do it yourself, it's okay to ask for help.
Yes, that's the biggest one. Right? Sometimes just starting is the hardest part. And sometimes we need a little bit of like extra motivation to start. Like I had said to you earlier, for me, some like I want to do the, I don't want somebody else to sort or anything like that. I just like having some company. So I either call a friend over or call a friend on the phone or like something. I just want to like talk to somebody while I'm working. It just, I don't know. I don't like to do it alone, but some of us really have a hard time even just asking for that help, whether it's with our cleaning or our finance. And cleaning is a big one though. I think especially for women, like there's a bunch of us who I think we're like closet, messy, and we don't want the world to know, except if you talk to everybody else, they're messy too. Like they're like, oh, this is nothing compared to my place.
Oh
But
yeah, for sure.
it reminds me of this
that. I
meme.
love
We
that.
posted it with one of our blogs actually.
Yeah.
It was a Winnie the Pooh meme, and it's Piglet is asking Winnie the Pooh, what's the bravest thing you've ever done? And Winnie the Pooh says, ask for help. Asking for help is the bravest thing you can ever do. And I think maybe that's our message today of your experience from spring cleaning, that, starting is the hardest part. And that it's okay to need help and it's okay to ask for that help. Hey, Elena?
I agree with you 100%. And that's exactly what happened to me. I basically turned towards the person next to me, who was my partner, and said, help me, right? Help me and be with me throughout the whole journey. And I think that's what sometimes we just need, someone just to stand by us. And that's what Bromwich+Smith does. We do exactly that for our clients.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, this was so great. It was so fun. So how does your basement look now? Is it all done? Is it still work in progress?
Work in progress. Let's one step at a time, Taz, one step at a time.
But that's exactly it, right? It's not like magically your finances are going to be cleaned up, or magically like those HGTV shows where like in a half an hour, the whole house is rebuilt and stuff. Like
if only.
If only.
If only.
But it's a start. You started the journey. And I think the biggest takeaway here is that, it is okay to ask for help. We all do need that help. We're stronger together. And I love how you pointed out, it's not necessarily just help starting, but it's through that whole journey. And for sure, Bromwich+Smith is here for you for that. So if you're in that space, if you're starting to feel that same overwhelm that Elena was feeling with her basement, if you're starting to feel that way about your finances, hey, get in touch with Bromwich+Smith. We're, compassionate, and we're here to stand by you and with you through the whole journey. Awesome.
Thanks, Taz.
We'll see you again.
Bye.